was Booth was going down the tube, and we didn't seem to be able to stop it. There were a lot of factors. I can't possibly describe it in this shorter period of time. Let me just say that over the next 6, 7, 8 years that followed that, 19 hospitals closed their obstetrical units in Philadelphia. So there was more going on. So I was on the board at Booth. When the lawyer came in and threw his briefcase on the table and said, okay, everything's taken care of. We were taking care of it in any eventuality, because to close a hospital and do it properly so that you won't get sued afterwards for abandonment of patients and things, it has to be very carefully and legally done. So when he came in and said that, we knew it was all over. And he said, you have to be out of here, take whatever you want out of here tonight, because the sheriff will put a padlock on the door at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. That's it. So, all of a sudden I thought of the refresher program, all of those nurse midwives that would be writing in for transcripts, and I had to get their records. I thought of all the teaching aids that they had over there in the building, and they had, and so I called my husband and asked him to hook up the trailer and bring it down, and we worked till midnight packing the things up, and then set out the 50 miles back to where our farm is, we're a farm that doesn't farm. That 50 miles in pouring rain. Broke down, I guess, all the stuff in the trailer. Pulled the rear end out of the little station wagon Honda that I had, Honda station wagon. Anyway, it was a grueling night. And my poor husband, I never could have done any of this without my husband, by the way, and my kids. It was always a family enterprise. And why did they do it? Because my husband very much believed in what I was talking about and what should be. He attended the birth of his children with me, and he had been brought up on a farm, so he knew that everything was not right, and in whatever way we were going to work to fix it, we would do. But he kept saying to me all the way, what are you going to do with all this stuff? Where are we going to put it? And I kept saying, I don't know, I'll figure it out. I don't know, I'll figure it out. I didn't have a clue. I just knew that it had to be salvaged, because I didn't want, some cleanup place to come in and just take the stuff and throw it out. And I knew that as I thought about it, the first thing I had to do was create some more space. I had a chicken coop and I had a big barn and I had a house, but I needed more office space because the birth center organization which I was running was in the chicken coop at that time. The offices were. And so we put up another building. I just called my friend who did all my carpentry work for me and said, I want you to put up 4 garages, all just like that. And I wanted to size it, so I wanted 24 by 48. And we have to have it up by the first of the year. This was, by the way, this was October, the end of October. And he said, well, my men are all gone. They're not, I don't do building in the wintertime. And I said, well, we'll help you. The kids will help you. And the kids did. They hauled this lumber and lifted it up to them and everything. They put up. But I didn't have any money because we didn't have the grant yet. And so I called my brother in Chicago and asked him if I could borrow enough money to buy the lumber so that the carpenter could get started. He said, what do you want it for? And I said, well, I have to put up this building. Well, what are you putting up another building for? Well, I have to, we're going to do this educational program. And I started to explain it to him. He says, never mind. I'll send it to you. I'm going to charge you 8% interest, though. Okay, all right. So we did. He sent the $8,000, and we bought the lumber, and we were off and running. And we didn't stop after that. It was a renovation, and God, when I think of those days. Anyway, then the chicken coop where my office was when the students came for their clinical bound, I had to turn that chicken coop into 5 exam rooms and a library, so we looked like a school. And we did. And they have now these big simulation labs down here. Don't need to do those anymore. But like 2 weeks before the students came, I realized I didn't have a place for them to stay yet. And I had to be affordable. So I'm driving up Unami Creek one day, and my friend that was with me, she looked over and said, what's that lodge over there? It looks beautiful. Let's go and see it. So I went in and I said, this would be a great place for the students to come. It was a children's summer camp. But it had bunk rooms and had a big lounge, in the lodge part of it. And we could set up, had a good kitchen, dining room. And I got the cook who used to be at Booth, who was a good friend. She came up and cooked for the students, and that's how we did it. We went up to drove in by this camp, and I said to I knocked on this trailer door that was there, and this gruffy old guy comes out, and I said, I'm interested in your camp, and I would like to rent it for a weekend. And he said, we don't rent that kind. Bang, closed the door. So I knocked on the door again, and I said, who owns this camp anyway? He said, well, the University of Pennsylvania used to own it, but they don't anymore. Some outfit in Philadelphia bought it, and they haven't decided what they're going to do with it yet. So I said, well, I just want to rent it for a weekend. And I said, it's for nurses. They're very clean. We'll clean the whole place up, and we'll leave it perfect for you. And he said, I told you, we don't rent it. And he started to slap the door again. And I said, wait a minute. I'm not talking about the folks in Philadelphia. How much do you want to rent this place for a weekend? And I had my hand in my pocket. And he said, well, what do you mean? And I said, well, I'll just pay you. And he said, well, we better go and look at it and see if what you really want. So we went over and looked at it. He opened it up for us. I said, it's perfect. How much do you want for a weekend? He said, $200. It's sold. So I tell the students when I tell them the story, just remember, anytime you're dealing with money, it's negotiable. I knew I had to build a community. Distance learning programs were I had a friend that was working with me that dropped her baccalaureate program, distance, and she had more intention than some people, but she had no community. I said, the students have to form a community. And so I called my daughter, who was the director of an Outward Bound program in Ely, Minnesota. I said, I need your help. She said, sure, what do you want? And I said, I need you to come and build a community for the students. She said, no problem. When do you want to say? I said, well, you have to do it in 3 days, though. Whoa, that might be a problem. We better come ahead of time. And they came, and they set up all these things like rappelling off rocks and a mini rope course. And they were fun things. See, the students were having fun, but they were also doing things that they never thought they could do. They never thought they'd go off a rock cliff backwards, with somebody holding a rope. But they did it. And and it worked. And they all went home happy, and they were a community. The only thing they complained about was that their telephone bills were going up to $150 and $200 a month, so they could stay a community.